All meditators.
Do I have time to run to the bathroom?
Yeah, we're going to start though. Go ahead. Yeah, we're going to start this.
Actually, it's okay.
Whatever you like. We're going to meditate right now. And then just turn that off. How do we access this mind? How do we open up to it? One of the main ingredients is relaxation. Tension is a sure method of obstructing that awakening. So take a few moments now as you enter into meditation and inhale into any tension. And exhale it away. Even if it's mental tension, imagine this inhale filling up a thought that causes you tension. As you exhale, the thought just melts away and you're left fresh. Begin to turn very inward. As if your target was the very center of your heart chakra. And you're no longer looking out. Turned exactly the reverse and began looking directly into your own heart. And that there's a tiny doorway there, shape of a perfect circle. And inside, through this little doorway, is a whole other world. A whole other way of being. See yourself get closer and closer to this. Again, noticing any tension, relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. Soft heart. And as you get closer and closer, it's like the light from the opening begins to fill the space. And you feel like a veil is being lifted off of your whole mind. Like someone came up to you and just pulled it off. And you are the radiance. Your body is simply an object that is filled by the radiance that you are, kept alive by the light that you are. And the light that you are is beaming, filling, pouring through every single atom, every single molecule, like there's vast space between, and it happens to be filled by your very own radiance. Your mind gets brighter, another veil is lifted. And it's only in its lifting that you even recognize that it was there. Like someone came up again and just pulled off the veil. And again, more limitless radiance. Horizon begins to lose its meaning. And just to keep you here, to keep you grounded, to keep you awake on this plane, you focus again on your heart. It resides in the deep, subtle body, deeper than your physical body. And there's what appears to be like a sun there. It's giving off warmth. And you maintain focus to settle back into your body, but with the feeling of the sun radiating its light out from your heart, filling your arms and hands, filling your legs and feet. And you are simply content to be this type of mindset, you see other beings, other people. People in this room. Feel that connection with them. All the people that you meet in your life. But you stay focused on this heart center. And relax. Stay relaxed. Bring our eyes back into focus as we gently come back into the room. Noticed in your life, as days go by, and then if you remember it, I'm sure you've all had this experience where you're thinking about something, but it's a pressing matter that's bothering you. And it's making you feel heavy. And there's some confusion or something, and there's some stress around there. There's some heaviness, or it could be any kind of emotion. It could be irritation, it could be anger, or it could be something, but it's pointed at some kind of scenario that's happening in your life. And this could be in the near past or quite far down the line past, I'm not sure, but have you had that experience where suddenly, for no reason, you just stress free about the whole thing? You just, all of a sudden something happens and whew, it's like you're free from it. The situation hasn't changed, but you just, you're like, oh, you've all had that, you're all nodding your head. That is a big clue. That means everything. Right there. That's a veil. That is the veil lifting off of you. The situation hasn't changed. The mind has changed. All of a sudden, no, I can handle that. That's handleable. Why was I so freaked out about that? 2 hours later, maybe it begins to repress again. But the important thing is that it was a simple movement, and there was total freedom. It's never the things. Something else going on. It's like, that's all religion. Right there, in that moment. It's all of it. It's everything. It's the secret to enlightenment, in that one moment when the veil lifts off. But we miss it. We miss it. Anyway, so gonna do. Questions and answers. I know that there's one in here. Well. I also had this thing. I got an email from somebody that was a very good question, which led me to want to talk about it in class and read it actually in class. We could base a whole class on that question. But I'm going to read this one, and I think it will tie in nicely. I have seen teachings by meditation masters that describe meditators that have meditated for decades but never make any significant progress. How can I avoid falling into this situation? Good question, right? Very good question. Now, we're gonna have that question sort of floating, and then there's another question that was emailed, and in your meditation practice, do you have a goal in mind when you start your meditation? I have trouble staying in a daily practice and usually start off well, but after a few days I end up stopping for some reason. Was wondering if there was something I can do or tell myself to keep the practice going in my daily life. That's why I thought maybe having an end goal in mind would help me focus. But I guess just the act of meditating also increases the focus. Ha ha. See, that's a great question. This is a question that I think lots of people have struggled with. So what I did was then I asked this person a question. I said, well, why do you meditate? What's the point? And the answer came, I think my main reason for meditating is to gain more focus. I find in general everyday life that when I achieve a deep state of focus, the rest of the world falls away and I can absorb myself completely in what I am doing. My problems seem to go away for that moment, even if it is only temporary. We just kind of talked about that. I'd like to say it is to become enlightened, but the whole concept of enlightenment still baffles me, so it is not really something I usually aim for. Also from past experience, I have briefly experienced states where my focus is very sharp and where my thoughts seem to dissolve into thin air. I'd like that back. There's also that unbounding joy that comes with it and a natural flow of creativity. Would like that back too. So overall, I would say I meditate to achieve better focus, which in turn brings joy, mental clarity, and creativity. So that was the answer. Good answer, right? Right? There's a thought-invoking question that led this person to give a great answer. So what I like about the answer especially is, I'd like to say it's about enlightenment, but I don't really know. You know? I'd like to say it's about enlightenment. And I think that I think that's trouble in a way sometimes in the world where we start talking about enlightenment. And then me and Josh were talking about this the other day, it was like, then it's like we have this idea of being superhuman. Like, and nothing's good enough. Like, we have this, like, we have a superhero, superhuman, super being, right? We have this super being complex, where there's, in one way you can say, well, that's okay if you're talking in certain ways about certain Buddhist practices, but in another way, I think it can be a real obstacle and can make people feel really bad about themselves and what they're not doing. Oh man, I'm not a super being yet. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I'm not this completely extraordinary, mind-blowing super being yet. But and I'll give you what I answered. So what I'd like to judging from your answer, you have a compelling reason to meditate. Right? You gave some great reasons. Compelling reasons to meditate. This reason is important. If we don't have a motivation that is deep enough, we will always fall off. I think your reason is deep enough, so where to go from there? This whole enlightenment thing, that's like a side effect. That's just going to happen. Enlightenment is just the result of you peeling off the shadow. That's all it is. It's not like you're building a city. It's just you're just relaxing and opening into what it is that you naturally are. But it takes work. And it's not something like you can just wish. It takes work. And so the meditation object can change. It's good to have a certain focus for a time until you maybe get bored of that. But what's most important, I'm going to say, and what I said here, most important until you reach the final stages of stillness is this overarching theme: increasing your meditative stability. So if people have meditated for decades and they don't feel like they're having success, then I'm going to say that they haven't been honestly addressing the issues of the meditative stability. So they have been like glossing over dullness, or like glossing over agitation, and just falling for thinking they're doing like a nice meditation when it's really almost like a dreamlike state. And also, what would be a successful meditation practice? What would one expect? If you've been meditating for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, if there's no increase in your focus, if you don't notice that you're more aware of your thoughts, of the things that pop up in your mind, then something's going wrong. But if you're noticing suddenly a witness state arise and beginning to actually see the personas begin to lift from the ground, right? The personas that begin to come up and occupy the space that you live in. The personalities that we want to be. The ways that we want to be seen. So important. Like your meditation practice should be leading you into seeing those things, because those things, those aspects of the mind, they're all part of that shadow. It's like they fall from there like rain. And then they come in, and then they're like the jealous one, the angry one, the one who wants attention. So if someone has been meditating for decades and that would be a sign, I think, of like nothing's happened. Like they haven't confronted anything in themselves. They haven't gone through like a hell. A craziness hasn't happened in the mind where it's like, oh my God, I need to deal with this thing that's running around within my mind. Because that's what meditation does. It points to those things so that they can be seen. So anything like that is significant progress because it's such a world of distraction. So, if you notice that your meditative stability is increasing, and that you can sit for longer periods of time and not lose focus, and as you go through your day, you're feeling things differently. You're relating to the world differently. You're coming from a different place. You're coming from a deeper place. You're coming from something inside of you is moving, starting to move and wake up. If that's not happening, and you've been meditating for years, you should come talk to me, because something's not happening. It should be weird. It should be weird. You should go through weird stuff as your stability increases. But I just wanted to get onto one thing. So increasing your but most important to reach the final stages of stillness is this overarching theme: increasing your meditative stability. Your ability to be single-pointed for longer and longer periods of time without being tossed off your object by dullness and agitation. As you progress in this, your mind will unite its forces and get behind your idea of living with a clear and free mind. Until that unification happens, the mind's many aspects push and pull each other for superiority, and no one thing remains the main focus, which makes it difficult to keep any one thing going. So it's like you have to convince the mind, all the minds, or almost like sub-minds, to all agree. Okay, we get it. This meditation thing is making us all happy. And until then, there's going to be a struggle. But if you practice daily, eventually all the aspects of your mind will eventually be convinced. It's like they all say, okay, we get it. Meditating is making everything better. Then daily practice becomes a no-brainer. It's just what you do. But until then, the goal should be a daily practice. That's the only goal that you need, is just doing a daily practice. There's this one, Chula Dasa, it's a great book. There's often they talk about the stages of meditation. And his idea is you're not even on the stages of meditation until you have a daily practice. Like step 0, or step 1 if you want to call it, is a daily practice. So if you're not actually doing a daily practice, you don't have a meditation practice. You're not gonna get to see yourself rise in the levels of meditation. And so that your goal, if you don't have a daily practice, is just to do a daily practice. And I think your bigger goal is clear to you already. You don't have to worry about enlightenment. That will happen on its own through your own inner work. So as you sit, simply know that the act of doing your best to stay on whichever object you choose is doing its work to bring you closer to the bigger goal of focused, clear, happy mind, the kind of presence of being that you mentioned, but do it every day. Make that your goal. It might be hard at first, but that's the point. Get over the first and worst obstacle to your goal, not doing it daily. Recognize that it's standing in the way of you experiencing life as you want to. It's a simple goal, but it's a heroic endeavor. When you crumble, you can do it. So it's hard for me to imagine that somebody would meditate daily, every single day, for decades, and just not feel anything, not feel something move and change in their life. They're doing something wrong. Or they're having an unrealistic goal. Maybe. I don't know. Uh, how do you prevent yourself from falling into this situation? I think it's just being clear. Just being clear about do you feel different in the world? Do you feel different in the world? And are you bringing something different to the world than you did before you started meditating? Because if it's getting mundane, I would think if I was meditating for 10 or 20 years and nothing was happening, I think that I would stop. It would reach a point where I would just say, well, this is not doing anything. But it's taking a lot of time, it's not doing anything. Mandy, do you want to say something? Something you wanted to ask?
I decided not to.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you be an amazing meditator, and have clarity and focus, and then come out of it and just be a jerk?
When you say come out of it, you mean come out of your meditation?
Yeah, and then just live the rest of your life in a very selfish, mean, unkind way? Is that?
Yeah, you can do that. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible. I can speak from personal experience. Like the first 3 or 4 years of a meditation practice, I would say, didn't stop me from being an asshole. I was getting better and better and better. My focus was getting clearer and clearer and clearer, but I was struggling. I was irritated a lot. Had very low self-esteem, very unhappy, wickedly, nastily unhappy, and the meditation was only making that more obvious. I couldn't deny that any longer. You see, that didn't make me for a while a nicer person in the world. But luckily, I somehow managed to stick to it. I stuck to it. So I think that someone who has meditated long enough and gained great meditative focus and has actually taken to task their afflictions and their jealousies and their ignorant desires and ignorant diversions, and they really understood that those things are what's ruining their life and also messing with other people. That's where you work it out, is on the cushion. It's like you work it out on the cushion, and you try it in the world. You walk out into the world and see if you did any good, if you're better yet. And you get smacked down, you get hit down, and then you just keep on going. But after a certain point, then it's just so improbable. After a certain point, once all the demons have come, because they leap out of the shadow on you and say, "You're not taking us down. We rule. We rule." And you have to hold on. Once you pass that point, there's no master meditator that's got total focus and has adjusted their winds in their mind. They're walking around being a total selfish jerk in the world. because it's just, they care about different things. Yeah, their heart is like connecting with people, not trying to get something from people. Their heart is trying to give something to people, not trying to get something from people. Yeah. Did that answer your question? I feel like I kind of didn't answer your question.
No, it did answer my
Yeah,
question.
okay.
Yeah. I was just, yeah.
Okay. I just want to, I guess I'm running out of time. I'm way over. Maybe we'll do this next time, but I was hoping that we could get, I'm inviting questions. There's an Insight Timer app that we could actually get a meditation group going. I'll email everybody about this. And a big part of getting a daily practice going is like getting into a group and like we're all doing it. And we can have questions in the group, or you can field questions and I can answer, or we can help each other. This is what helped me. This is what I found useful. We can even do some kind of challenge or something like that, where we've gone 30 days, a 30-day challenge, something like that, and then everybody can see, oh, looks like Alvaro's meditated 5 days in a row. Like it can be like that, or the person can opt to just be private and nobody knows if they meditated or not. But we can create a group. Does that sound appealing to people? Yeah. So I'll get on that, and then I'll email you, like, because it's an app though. It's an iPhone app. Is it also in other phones, right? Yeah. Insight Timer.
I haven't tried it.
Okay, it's a great app. What it also does is it keeps track of all the days you meditated, and you get to see yourself. 30 days in a row, and then I think you can get little stars and things like that. But you get to see what you've been doing, and it's important. And we just support each other in this.
And then the question is, I don't know, I have found myself that I'm dispersed. Some days is yoga nidra, and other days could be meditating, swimming in a swimming pool. The other day could be in the sky train, doing chakra meditations. The other day is mantralizing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's gonna be next.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
kind of that dynamic meditation, or
Yeah.
are we talking like
No.
go sit there and
no.
boil it in the
No.
in the cushion?
No, you get to decide. No. Let's be natural.
Is there?
Can we be like human beings?
Sorry. I was just wondering if this app is able, because I imagine there's probably going to be different preferences that people want to have their progress public or not. Like,
Yeah.
is the app able to sort of provide a group score? Even so, let's say if everyone says that they don't want to talk about,
Yeah,
the
you don't want their-
public, like,
yeah.
is it possible to have like a group score to say how the entire group is going? So then that way, if somebody's bringing the group down, then they'll know that it's them. But nobody else.
I'm not sure. I'll look into it though. Like the Olympics.
Yeah, well, because nobody else will know that it's them. But
We're only
they'll
as
know.
strong as the weakest link, right? Okay, well, let's check it out.
But then that comment is interesting, because meditation is not about forcing it. I used to force it. Yes, I have to do this. It's just, I have these 5 minutes. I'm in the sky train. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I find, at least for me, through time, I find that kind, even with yoga. Now it's integrating it, right, these random days. Without much of preparation, I have to go there and be there.
Yeah, because you're only measuring against yourself, really, aren't you? It's
Yeah,
not
no, and the
really
point being
against
that
others.
you're making a choice. Like Alvaro was saying, for whatever reason, he's decided this next 5 minutes, this next 30 minutes, I will be focused. This will be my meditation, and that's the thing, is you make the choice. He's made a choice, whether it's squash, whether it's swimming, whether it's staring at a fern. Whether it's talking to a fern, right? But he's made the choice, and so it's like it would be sad, you know, if you know, we can't take 5 or 10 minutes out of each and every day and just like put it aside for them. So, anyways, we should stop. It's on 15. I'm sorry, I'm over 15 minutes. I just can't shut up sometimes. But I encourage any email questions, and then this insight timer will hopefully you'll all see the questions, and then you know Joyce can pipe in. You know, will this help me? You know, or like that. Like it can be like a community, not just like I'm the guy. You know, I mean, everybody. You guys have all been meditating. You've all had your experiences. You all have helpful things to say and good questions. So. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Do you want to sleep here, Sajid?
We're gonna get into the talent show. I can definitely see you do it.
I was gonna say, is that not-
With a tutu. With a tutu.